Turf Moor. West Ham take on Burnley. Burnley this season have taken 8 points from some well-known Premier League teams. Some to name are Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool and Everton, and they've actually taken those 8 points away from home. So we have Burnley coming up. Guys, what are your thoughts?
I'll kick it off. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. I don't see it being a very exciting game, to be honest. I think it'll be a very tight game as well. I think Burnley will be very compact. I think it'll be a very slow-paced game as well. It's going to be a tough one because Burnley, even though we've beaten them a couple of times, is that 5 times we've beaten them in a row?
Yes, I've got some more stats for you. West Ham have beaten Burnley in the last 5 attempts at playing them. So
yeah, see, that's pretty decent. Yeah, but always away from home, Burnley. Burnley at home at Turf Moor, it's always going to be a dodgy game. What about you, Luke? What do you think, mate?
I think it would be the same kind of thing as West Brom. The thing that I've realised about Burnley lately is the fact that because Tom Heaton hasn't been in goal, they've had to use their reserve keeper in Tom Pope. And you can see that basically their whole emphasis has been on literally allowing as least amount of shots a goal at him as possible, which away from home that's perfect. At home, the fans are going to kind of go, well, we want them to be more attacking, but we can see why you're doing it. That's the gist that I'm getting off it, because I'm looking at him and he's made a few good saves in the past, but I think if one of our strikers has a go at him, then they're more the merrier to score a goal. But I think it'll be the same as West Brom. I'm not too sure we're going to go for the win ourselves. I think if we can nick it 1-0, something like that, with the players apparently coming back, hopefully it'll be a bit more attacking emphasis than there was at West Brom. But I think it'll be generally more of a like as that game, really.
A couple of players to look out for Burnley is a player that West Ham were rumoured to be chasing in the summer, the New Zealand international Chris Wood. He's got 2 goals this season so far for Burnley. What do we know of this guy? Over to you, Sets.
I just know he just loves aerial battle. So our defenders best be on point, because if Robbie Brady whips in the ball and he's just wide open and he gets it on his head, he'll probably go in, definitely.
I mean, look, Seth just mentioned the player there, and another player I was going to talk about was Robbie Brady, and he's well known for his set pieces. And yeah, like you said, Chris Wood is definitely game for an aerial battle. Is that a threat we really need to watch on Saturday?
Well, you got Sam Vokes as well up front with him. He ain't shy of a header himself.
Exactly.
You got 2 colossal forwards up there, and Chris Wood was dynamite in the Championship, and he hasn't exactly lacked anything since he's gone to the Premier League either. But that's been helped by Burnley's form as well. I've always thought we struggled to get set pieces. Since we've set piece takers, we're always susceptible to a free kick taker. Always has been in the past. You can name it. You can just see a goal coming. But that's whether we defend it or not. That's whether actually Burnley ever put any attacking emphasis on us at all. I mean, they might just go, well, we want to defend as much as you want to defend. We want to get clean sheets as much as you do. So maybe, like I say, the West Brom, they're going to concentrate on set pieces or not. The funny thing is that I think you can concentrate too much on them being target men and rather than footballers sometimes. I think we do that quite a lot. Whereas we look at them going, okay, they've got a big man, they won't be very good on the floor, they're just going to pump balls up in the air all day long, which they might do, but they might not. We've used Carroll in a different way before, we've used them on the floor before. I think that, with the likes that, they're kind of their team, no matter how good it is a very English team, it's a very traditional team, and I think it's one of them teams where they'll do whatever they have to do to get the result. There's not going to be a player in there that's going to do a few tricks here and there. They're very backs to the wall, very do the basics right. And I know Everton should be doing a lot better than they are this year, but it's still a difficult place to go at Goodison Park and get a result and a clean sheet. And they got both last week before the international. So they're a very dodgy team. I'm a big fan of Sean Dyche, and I do think Burnley are playing good football this year. But hopefully we can not be too scared of them and play our own game, and hopefully it won't be too defensive as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the points that Burnley have taken, and they've taken points off of Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, Spurs
I know, it's scary.
at Wembley, and drew with Liverpool. They took, what was it? They drew with Spurs at Wembley. Sorry,
drew with Wembley.
There's some big teams there, and it's only beginning of the season to take 8 points off of them when they probably were we're maybe hoping for 1 or 2. To be honest, it's a big deal
at the most. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Sean Dyche, about potentially a lot of fans saying we're interested in him, or we should be interested in him. Do you see this as an opportunity for him to come and show off to the West Ham board, this is what I'm capable of, or does he have any interest whatsoever in that job in the future? Yes.
Well, I don't mind Sean Dyche, to be fair. I think he's a really good manager, to be honest. But I feel we should be going with someone with better pedigree. But knowing our owners, to be honest, they will not be ambitious, as we'll say. They'll probably go for someone like a Sean Dyche or something like that, just to cheapen their pockets,
Yeah.
When I say I'm a fan of Sean Dyche, I mean not at our club. To watch
claret and blue,
club.
But
another claret and blue. It's nice to see another claret and blue team do well as well. No, joking. Actually, no, I really do like Sean Dyche. The thing about it is that with you can. I totally agree with what you're saying, Seth. And I actually think it's the same along the same lines. But there is that kind of thing of being a bit too egotistical, saying that okay, we're bigger than Burnley, we've got a bigger stadium, sort of stuff, that you're not up to our level. Well, look at it. I mean, we're at the bottom of the league and they're 6th. They've taken more. They've taken points that we'd dream of
really.
so far this season. With a team that appears to be a lot more of a cohesive unit than we've been this year, and they're sitting pretty. They've got nothing to worry about, nothing to be scared of. So maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. If it is, then God help us. Because I'm not sure
true.
Slav will be there. I'm not sure Slav will be as worried about losing his job as he is about applying for the job. So well, maybe there's a possibility. I hope not. But yeah,
something to keep an eye on. The referee's been announced for the weekend, and it's Stuart Atwell. He's not refereed West Ham this season. He's not shown a red card this season, which is probably unheard of for a referee, but he has shown 16 yellows in the game. So I don't know if that's me sending off a bad vibe towards.
The way you're say sending off pending.
Quite possibly. So get your bets on the go.
Mate.
But I tell you what, we should probably just talk about some the international break and some of the players that have been in there from West Ham. So we talk about Arnautovic, Kouyaté, Sakho, Hernandez, Hart and Cresswell. And just from that bunch of names there I mentioned, there was 3 international goals and a few assists throughout the international break. So what are your thoughts on those players, how the international break would affect them moving into the game against Burnley? Cess?
I hope to be honest, it'll doing pretty good, to be honest. Something like Sakho, who's got on the score sheet, Hernandez getting on the score sheet, Joe Hart keeping a clean sheet, Cresswell getting some minutes in as well. It will doing pretty good. It'll give him a confidence boost as well, I'd say.
Yeah.
What about you, Luke? What do you think?
None of them got injured, which is always a massive bonus. That is the massive bonus. Yeah, well, that's left to us now to ruin that. But I'm just saying, for the time being, that's what's gone on. I'm hoping sort of none of them have sort of gone to their training camps overseas and kind of got away from that shithole in East London and come back over here a little bit, So hopefully we'll have a good time, got some confidence, and hopefully they come back. I'm glad. By the way, I've been preaching hate towards Cresswell, not in a really hateful way, but I've really been pandering him, saying he hasn't been playing well, turn up at all this season. He played. I know it's only Lithuania. I know it was kind of like a nothing game, really, just to get the team over the hill. But I'm pleased that he come through that game unscathed, and he was almost on the end of an assist, and he played quite well. So if Masako plays, he'll play left wing. So I think Cresswell's going to be the mainstay for left back for us this season. So if he can keep up that confidence and take that with him, then fantastic. Regarding the others, Arnautovic doesn't surprise me. Sakho and Kouyaté don't surprise me at all. I'm really hoping that Kouyaté actually comes back and gets back to his proper form, because I think we're still yet to see that. And I'm hoping that it just carries on, really. So hopefully no more injuries, and goes from there.
What was nice to see, guys, was Hernandez doing the typical his fox in the box header of a goal inside the 6-yard box.
Yeah, I see that.
And he's such a passionate little player. And obviously myself and Cess had a little show out on YouTube this week, and we were talking about his comment he made on social media, where he's just confirmed that he's really happy at West Ham and he doesn't want to leave, which is a breath of fresh air to see and hear. And hopefully that can emulate to him playing in position from now on. I mean, how many times does any manager need to see? But this guy is our main forward that needs to start from start to finish, all the way through to the game. So yeah, with all these returning players, it leaves us in a bit of a predicament. And one of the things we've been talking about in the past is, but now we're coming up to the nitty gritty and the decision time, is Carroll, Sakho and Hernandez. There's a bit of a debate going on online about who people want to see.
Is there?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll pass it over to you, Luke, first. I mean, who do you want to see up top?
All three. Let's just go, but no, I would like to see all three, actually. I really would. The people that are arguing with each other actually after about half an hour, no luck. I think I've got this idea that Hernandez will be dropped. I have this really big feeling that Hernandez will be dropped purely based on the fact that Burnley is so traditional and they're so bullish at the back, that I think that you're gonna see Hernandez perfectly. And this annoys me because I kind of wanted to start as well, but I think, using my logic head, not my heart head, that you'll see him as an impact player. So when Burnley are completely tired and they've been tired defending for 75 minutes, he can come in, couple of darts in here, maybe a little bit of movement. It will surprise him. I think with the call-ins for Sakho to start, he will start. I think I can see Carroll starting purely because he hasn't also had any international games at all over the period. So he's had time to rest and relax. And it will just be kind of like a predictable thing to put him in. I don't think personally he has done anything wrong to get dropped. It's just the players are playing better than him, so he can sort of take a step back. I'd love to see the Hernandez and Sakho partnership, but something's telling me that there's a partnership in there that's going to go in, and that's going to be Carroll and Sakho.
Wow, okay. Cess, what's your thoughts?
Well, as I said, as we discussed the other day, I said I wanted it to be Hernandez and Sakho up top. That's how I felt personally. I felt we'd just use like two mobile players that can get in behind the defence of Burnley. But to be fair, what Luke's saying, it does kind of make sense as well, with having Carroll and Sakho. That does make sense. But it's whether which one Bilic picks. That's the big question. Unless he puts him back on the wing again, that will just completely shatter everything.
Yeah, stuff to argue away. Yeah.
See, guys, for me personally, I'll disagree on that. I think it needs to be Hernandez. I think I get the impression you want it to be Hernandez, but you think it's going to be Sakho and Carroll, and I actually think it is going to be Hernandez and Carroll, because a mixture of we've seen a little bit of change in Bilic with his formation and his tactics the past couple of weeks, and it's really been a bit like what the fans have been calling out for, and he's been kind of listening to what they're saying. But I did mention that I feel like Hernandez and Carroll definitely need a run of games together. They've not had enough. Hernandez has just come off a goal from an international. If he gets a run of games up top, which he deserves to do, and Carroll gets a run of games up top, which he deserves to do, and with the incoming returning players from injury, it's potentially going to link up with a partnership, which is what we've wanted to see if we drop back to potentially the Lanzini inclusion into the team. So for me, I just think it would be, I mean, if I looked at the team sheet on Saturday and I didn't see Hernandez starting, I would be gutted, absolutely gutted. And either or, if it's Carroll or Sakho, either way, I'd want to see one of them playing up top with him. But as long as we play to the formation, which is stop letting these strikers drop back and fall back. But I think you make a valid point there, Luke, though. I think for the first time in a while, we've got three strikers fit. Fingers crossed they stay fit, touch every single bit of wedge you can find. And fingers crossed they can stay fit, because either way, he's going to have a selection problem. But I think Sakho, for me, I would prefer to see him just now as the impact sub until Carroll proves me or changes the situation and keeps me potentially not performing that well, and then where Sakho could step in and start. Because I don't know if Sakho actually started for Senegal in the internationals. I'm not too sure. And how many minutes did he play, and how many minutes has he got in him just now?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a bit of a decision. It's not a bad decision to have really for Bilic.
It's not.
Can Bilic handle that decision? That's the problem, because maybe the only player there that would accept being on the bench would be Carroll because of his injury record. But yeah, it brings us on to a difficult one though, because we've got returning players. We've got Arnautovic, probably is going to be back now. He is back. He only had a little bit of a sick bug. He scored international break. We've got Antonio. Is he fit? He didn't look fit against Swansea, but he's had a couple of weeks now to recover. We've got potentially the return of Obiang. He looks like he's going to get a late fitness test for the weekend. And with all the other midfielders, Luke, who do you think will play in the midfield? I mean, taking into consideration Masuaku.
Yeah, it's something to think about, actually. I think that I'm kind of the one talking about Burnley lately is that they're a bit of this pub team, you know, traditional English team, defensive and whatever, full of British players and whatever. But I think that there's a part of me also that thinks they're going to be a bit heavy-handed as well. And I'm not. I think it'd be better if Masuaku would start at home. For some reason, I think with the home crowd and everything like that would be great for him. But then again, there's less pressure away from home. It's a tough one. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to play. I think if you want to do it a certain way, I think if you want to kind of hold back for a good 60 minutes and then attack right at the end and try and nick a goal and win it, you play a team of Noble and Kiate in the middle. You play your Antonio on the right with Anatovic on the left, or vice versa. Which is going to annoy people because people want to see Masuaku start and whatever. But I'm just saying from this point of view, and then you obviously have your Carol Hernandez up front and whatever, and then you change it round more attacking wise. So you bring on Sakho and Lanzini at some point, like he did against Swansea at some point during the game, to 12 minutes at the end. If you want to completely surprise people, actually go, no, we're going to go attacking right from the start here. You start Kiate, Lanzini, you start Masuaku, and you start Anatovic, purely based on the fact that Anatovic didn't have an injury against Swansea. He was very ill. I don't know how true that is. I'm not even going to comment on that, but apparently he's ill, just taking it as he's ill. Scored a goal in the internationals, getting back in the squad and let Antonio have that bit of rest that I still think he needs. I always think we rush him back too early. And then he can bolster and boost himself when he comes on as a sub. So I think there's two ways of looking at it. Do you want to go defensive for a good majority of the game, or do you want to try and attack from the start? For me, personally, to play it safe, you start with Noble and Kiate. If you want to go attacking, you start with Lanzini and Kiate in the middle.
Yeah, Cess.
With me, I said that Masuaku should start. Put him as left wing. It depends on the formation, really. It depends what Village is going to go for. Are we going to go 4-4-2, or are we going to play 3 at the back? I just don't know what formation we're going to play, because Village has been trying different formations out this season. He's not had a set formation where it's like, oh, I'm going to stick with this one, because of he's just got to deal with the players that he's got at the moment. But now the players are returning. He's in a dilemma. It's like, shit, what am I going to play now? I've got all these players returning now. What am I going to do now? So I think it depends on if he's going to like Luke said, is he going to play it safe, sit back, or is he going to go attack him from the off? It depends on that, really.
Listen, we've got a manager that a lot of people are taking their time to rip into over the past couple of weeks, but he did get a victory against Swansea. It was a messy victory, but he did get the victory. And a manager like Bilic has got the potential to start with an unchanged side, which, if he did that, would also see Ayew stay in the team. So if that was to happen, because to be honest, we are so kind of not in the know of what team, because he's actually going to have a selection problem, because he's got a lot of players available now, and
that's
to be honest, he's got the potential to put out on paper what we would say is our best team, attacking team, and best defensive team. But a lot of managers say, why change a winning team and a winning formation? I do believe we're going to go 4-4-2. I worry that we'll go with the same team, but I just feel like things need to be shaken up so much so that Masuaku does deserve his chance. And for me,
definitely,
I would love to see that relationship starting to build. And look, you pinpointed it there. Cresswell got a game. He got a game under his belt. Yeah, it was against not that great opposition at international break, but he had a decent game.
Yeah.
And he's been playing every single week, so his confidence is going to be getting better for West Ham. Masuaku comes on and he gives him that little bit of freedom to know, do you know what, I've got a bit of a backup there. Masuaku knows he's got a bit of backup with Cresswell. Between the two of them, if you're knocking those balls in and they're getting them both on form, and you've got Carroll in the box and Hernandez running onto the back of them, and you've got Kouati doing his job and Lanzini's doing his job, then there's no need for Carroll to drop back in and Hernandez to drop back in, and they're not going to be isolated. That's where I'm at. So I don't know what you're thinking.
And Cresswell, and sorry to butt in, I think Cresswell looked more comfortable with Masuaku on the left wing than Arnautovic for some reason. I don't know if it's just me, but that's all.
He does. For me personally, I think he does, and I think they've got a good relationship. They seem to talk really well. They seem to have an understanding. It's a bit like the old school fullbacks or not the old school. It's a modern day thing, but when the overlapping. They constantly overlap each other.
Always overlapping, that's one,
Yeah, and they've got that support for each other, which when you've got potentially other players we've had in the past that don't overlap and they're quite static. And that's that's the biggest problem I've got right now is that's why I think our midfield needs a massive shake-up, and it doesn't mean because you're our biggest signing in the midfield. If it needs a shake-up because currently they're static in the midfield. But then we haven't seen the best of Arnautovic. How many games has he played for us this year? What, 2?
1.5.
1.5.
Something like that, yeah.
So he's going to have confidence coming back in from the international break.
Yeah. I think it's a dangerous game for. You can't play the same team. I mean, I don't know. The reports you're hearing is that both the Ayew brothers got dropped by Ghana. So it's like things are going bad to worse for Ayew. Both of the brothers as well.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them. Yeah.
No, it can't be nice either. His, brother and his brother booed and taken off, and the way it happened another day. So you got one guy, Creswell, gaining confidence, and Ayew's confidence absolutely shattered. You cannot bring that kind of confidence into a game back. But then there's the other thing is the fact that Ayew scored against Burnley last season, and he's away from home, so there's less pressure on him. Yeah. So it's like here and there, and it's. But like you say, this is a time when Bilic can kind of go. This is make or break me. This is a decision that's going to make or break my tenure. There's this big thing there. I think people don't actually realise it's as big as it is. I think, and I don't want to sound as corny or when I'm saying this, but internet opinions are massive. If you look at the general consensus since Swansea game, it's been Masuaku. If he does not play Masuaku, you're going to get flack from the fans from the very start of the whistle. So if he wants a positive vibe from the fans, you're going to start Masuaku. If he goes, I'm the manager, it's my decision. The fans can say what they like, but I'm the guy getting paid to make decisions here. He ain't starting. I'm starting out with Antonio. Shut up and let me do my job. The atmosphere could turn sour very quickly. If we don't have a particularly great start, you're going to hear things like sacked in the morning and stuff like that going to come pretty soon. So for me, it depends kind of how much Bilic really cares about current form and how the fans are going to feel, which I don't think managers really do now. I don't care about the managers' fans feel, but let's hope they do. And also, how you're going to deliver it. I mean, are you going to do wing play or are you going to keep lumping up to Carroll and Fernandes? Because if you've got Masuaku on the wing and you're not going to play wing on the wing, you're going to play it lump up to Carroll as we sometimes do nowadays. It's like, well, Masuaku's there, but there's no point fucking using him because he's not going to get the ball. So look, change it because I'm not funny. Yes, we did win the game against Swansea, but my God, was there.
No, I don't think we want to get started.
If we had to sit through another 90 minutes of, but the funny thing was, I saw a post today, but on the West Ham official site, it was on Facebook, and it was showed that as a celebration by Zabaleta doing his fists in the air and Carroll holding on to Sakho, and the caption was, "Let's have another this on Saturday." No. We don't want that on Saturday. I don't mind it once every now and then, but there's going to be old people dying in the crowd for heart attacks, and then it's not going to be nice. I don't want that happening. We want to at least. I don't mind. Honestly, I don't mind drawing 1-1 as long as we play like we want to win it and we get close. Please don't put me to sleep again. It's not nice. So yeah. I'd rather just play a stronger team, go for a little bit here and there. I don't attack all the time, but. Yeah, I just want to stay awake for 90 minutes.
I mean, we're in that situation where three impact subs that came on against Swansea were the ones that made the difference. Sakho, Masuaku and Lanzini. And coming up nicely to Lanzini, will he start? I mean, West Ham it's typical, you see it in the week when you look at West Ham's official page or on Twitter or on Facebook, and they give you a little kind of highlight to potentially what's going to happen at the weekend, and they put a picture up of Lanzini in training, and I think they wrote something like "Ain't nobody" or the little hands up sign. And for me, that's just
the corny crap.
The corny crap that lets you know he's going to play a massive part of the game at the weekend. And for me, I think he is going to start. And what a boost for the team that's going to be. But hopefully, that's going to change the lumping up top to Carroll every single game. which hopefully will allow Carroll, if he does start, to stay in his position up top. So it's a decision I definitely wouldn't like to make, but I'm not Bilic and I'm not a manager and I'm not in the Premier League and I'm sitting in a house in Scotland and not earning as much money as they do, so it's not a bad decision.
Well, I hope he makes the right decision because I'm going to the game Saturday, so I'm praying he makes that right decision. I don't want to look at that team sheet. He's like unchased side. Oh God!
I tell you what, I've been crying out for such a long time, and there was a kind of time in our lives as West Ham fans that every year we used to give a thumping to a team, an absolute thumping into a team, but it's not happened for a long time. But it's the first time we've got a really full fit squad, nearly full fit squad. What James Collins is out, and obviously there's a few fitness tests, but this is his opportunity. For me, I just think he's got absolutely nothing to lose. We've said all along that Bilic is here to the end of the season. He probably knows he's here to the end of the season because there's no one else out there. So I think we might see a little bit more of a ballsy Bilic over the next coming weeks, because these are the next couple of games that he's potentially going to, what we would look at on paper as trying to get points for. And I think Bilic is going to look at the situation and go, do you know what? I don't need to protect this draw because I'm safe. I'm safe for the season. He probably knows he's gone, so he's got nothing to lose. So if he goes out there and tries something new, why not? Look.
I'm trying to think of my response because I'm kind of thinking, well, for me, it's the complete opposite, because in my opinion, if you're like that, you're kind of thinking already of the sangria and the Sun Beach and all that. You know, you think yourself, well, we're not going to matter because I'll be gone anyway. I don't think, I personally, I don't know what the general consensus of Bilic still. I don't hate the guy. As I said before, you know, the kind of, like, if I saw him in the pub, I'd buy him a pint, have a chat with him. He doesn't seem at all horrible. He doesn't seem egotistical. I actually think he's more competent than a lot of managers we've had in the past. I think you've got a completely opposite guy to Allardyce, because Allardyce was kind of going, I'm doing what I want, stuff you if you don't like it. Is a cut my ear, you know, I don't care what you say, you know, to the fans. I think Bilic is completely opposite to that. I think he's got a clue. I think what the problem with Bilic is the fact that he makes things too hard for himself for whatever reason. And I think that I'd love him to go, kind of thing, I've got nothing to lose and let's just go more attacking, let's just go for it. But I think another thing's going to be thinking, well, we can all say it'll be at the end of the season, but football's weird these days. I mean, managers get sacked when on a good run, and that doesn't even have to be in the Premier League, it can be anywhere. You've also got the thing that, you know, he might want a job after this job as well. So whether he's gone, you know, after West Ham, he might think, well, who's going to hire me? I want to end up with a good note, and let's go and get another job in Croatia or wherever he wants to go, because there are rooms he wants to go back to Croatia to manage. But I'm hoping that as a fan, especially for the home games, I'm not too about the away games, because I think away games is kind of, it's fair game. You play it to how it's going. You don't always plan it for the 90 minutes, you plan it for how the game's going. But if for a home game, I think you have to go for it. So I'm not too bothered about how we set up against Burnley. I just like us to have a cohesive unit and at least a decent game to watch.
No, that would be good. That would be good. And Liam, you're making the journey, and hopefully I'm going to make the journey with you at the weekend. And we would love to see. And I think the most disheartening thing is when you see certain players on the team sheet you really don't think deserve to be there. But before we move on to maybe predictions for the game, Noble's back in the team, and is he going to stay in the team with all those choices? This is going to be a big test for Bilic to see if he's going to drop him or not. Liam, to
you. Even though he did play well against Spurs, I do feel like with all the players that are returning, I feel he's just going to get knocked back to the pecking order. So I feel that he'll be used for like just impact last 20 minutes just to like see off a game or something if we're winning or something. I think that it will be used as that now. But like I said, we don't know. He might end up starting on Saturday. You never know. You just don't know.
But I think this is the sort of game for me that I'd like to see. I would like to see Noble dropped and brought on as the impact sub to either clear up the game or give the team the boost that they need, because he is that guy. I won't go over it again, but he is that guy that I think we need in that position, coming off the bench and give us that boost. But we've talked about Burnley. We've talked about there's going to be we just have no idea really what's going to happen, because for the first time West Ham don't have a trend. We're not trending with a similar formation. We're not trending with the same team that's playing every single week. So in actual fact, when we're doing these previews, we actually have no idea who's going to start. I think we probably have a decent idea of the back line. For me, probably Hart, Cresswell, Zabaleta, Font, and Reid. Probably all agree with that, and that's probably the really only kind of 5 positions that we're pretty much guaranteed, and we know they're probably going to play in that line. I mean, we could, but then again, he could come out and go, do you know what? Let's play 3 at the back again and do the 2 wing backs. We just don't have a clue. Formation for me, I think I want to see 4-4-2. Luke, what did you say you wanted to see?
What did I say? I'll be cool with having sort of 2 in the midfield and 1 up front, and then 1, 3, 2 in a wing and then 1 in attacking midfield. But that's only if you kind of play Lanzini. I kind of want to see. No, I wouldn't mind Noble starting against Burnley, because I think and Noble is matched to a Burnley kind of side. There's not a lot of pace in that Burnley team for me. It's just they can spray the ball around pretty well, but they're not going to have runners from deep line and going straight past players if they're nothing like Lanzini would. So you haven't got that in the back of your mind. So I don't really want to rush Obiang back either, because I can see it going totally wrong with us if we just go straight away, go bang in. And there's also the chance that Kiati can get injured because he's been playing international football as well. So I think it's a safe bet to take Noble starting, and hopefully he has a good game. I hate to do a bad game, but hopefully he has a good game. But I think probably 2 older midfielders, and then we got to be 4-4-2 really. If you've got all three strikers available and fairly on form, you've got to have 2 strikers. So 4-4-2 for me with Kiati and Noble in the middle.
Again, West Ham are going to take a massive following to the game, to Tufnor on Saturday, and they're going to get behind their team, come win, lose or draw. Before we move on to the predictions for the game, there was one other point that came out this week, which was a specific couple of tweets and articles that came out from Graham Souness regarding Glenn Hoddle getting mentioned for the manager's position, in his opinion, on and the current West Ham situation. So I took a note of what Souness had actually said, and this is a quote from the Times, which is: "Look at West Ham situation where you have Jack Sullivan, son of the owner David Sullivan, on social media criticising the manager's selections, substitutions and signings." He then wrote, "All of that is unacceptable." So for me personally, it is unacceptable. So I agree with what Souness has said. I haven't read the rest of the article. I can't really find any more information. What's your thoughts on what he said?
Has he been awake for the last 4 years? I think Sullivan's doing this a lot longer than what he thinks he has. This has been a kind of long-running thing, and I think Souness is just kind of the only person that's not a fan of West Ham that's taken the time out to criticise Sullivan, and it makes me laugh that kind of Sullivan's come back and replied to him saying, "Don't know what you're on about, mate." I was thinking, well, you got about like at least 200,000 other tweets about you, and you've not replied to them. So maybe Souness is the first of many. I don't know. That is unacceptable. But they've done the same thing with Zola. They've done the same thing with a lot of managers. Bilic is not the first person. He's certainly not going to be the last. This is the thing. This is the whole thing with throwing someone under the bus. They think they're clever, but they're actually not. They're actually pathetic, and it's a bit of a joke. And it does lessen the club's image financially, and it does. For all of Karen Brady's fantastic business ideas, I do think she falls short of the draw. And when I listen to Souness, it is sometimes listening to someone rusty nail across the chalkboard. It is a little bit like mute the TV. But he does have some good things to say sometimes. He's quite a wise man to listen to. But he's not saying anything we don't know. He's not saying anything new. There's not nothing that none of us have said before. Saying anything we've been saying for a number of transfer windows, blah this, blah that. Yeah. So keep talking Souness, because there'll be someone else along in a minute, and I'm not too sure about Hoddle, to be honest with you. But
oh God,
yeah, I'm done with that. So you take over, mate.
Listen, if we want a faith healer, you never know. We've got a guy we can go to. So, let's move on from that one and talk about predictions for the game. So, Liam, I'm going to come over to you, put you well under pressure, and ask for your predictions for the game on Saturday.
It's gonna be 1-1. This is something innocent. It's gonna draw something, and I'll probably take it. To be honest, I wouldn't be mad at a draw. I would love for us to go for a win, but I personally can't see it. I think it'll be a draw, 1-1. I generally can't see a win. I would love it, to be honest. Or love it.
Love it.
Love it. I didn't expect us to beat Burnley 2-1 last year. I think if I'm going to go for the Heathrow, I'd say 3-1 West Ham.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
Purely because it's my time now. Purely because. Purely based on the fact that we got the strikers in that we didn't have last year, and the fact that we had to score the goal from Ayew from a rebound from a crossbar, which was the luckiest goal he was ever going to score, but thankfully he scored it. But based on the players we've got that are coming back that we didn't have last year, that we've got this year, the emphasis we've got, the options we've got, the fact that kind of the team ain't conceding, whereas I think the previous to that game we lost 4-0 home to Liverpool, so it was a bit of a grinder. I think 3-1. I hope 3-1. I think is on the same lines as Cess as 1-1. I think 1-1. I hope 3-1.
I hope 3-1. I think 3-1. I'm just going to start being positive from now on. Luke will back this up, and some of the guys will back up how negative I've been over the past couple of weeks. And I'm trying to be a new positive guy. I'm trying my best to be.
Can you?
Yeah, but I've really been negative. Like when we were all part of this at the beginning, we were all saying how positive certain people were, and I was one of those guys. And I'm just going to start. I'm going to hit the refresh button, hit the reset button, and try my best to be as positive as I possibly can. So I'm going for 3-1 with the current situation. I hope Caro and Hernandez start to strike up a bit of partnership, and then bring the impact sub on for Sakho near the end of the game. So that's where I'm at. So yeah, we've rounded up that game. One thing before we go is I just want to inform you of some exciting information. So we've got another competition coming up in line for Christmas, thanks to Umbro. I'll keep it under wraps just now, and we'll let you know what we're going to do, a big giveaway for coming up to Christmas time with Umbro. So make sure you follow and like their pages on Facebook and Twitter. They're our official partners, and you have to subscribe to our channel. So the channel's going well. We're now 5 or 6 weeks, 6 7 weeks actually into the channel. So please, you need to make sure you share our content and put some stuff questions in the comments box below. If you want any other information, please get in contact with us. I'll make sure I put Liam's or one of the guys will make sure they put Liam's details, my details, Luke's details in the description below to follow us on Twitter. And yeah, listen, remember, Irons United is for everyone. The whole purpose of this is to get as many people on the show as possible. So if you want to go on the show, please get in contact with us and let us know, because it's not just about us, it's about West Ham. We are a family, we are the West Ham family. So come on, give us your opinion. We've got Gift of the Gab where you get to just speak your opinion on anything West Ham. And then we've obviously got our preview shows and vlogs and etc. We've got some exciting stuff coming up for the new year. We'll keep in contact with that. So yeah, I'm going to shut up because I've been going on for too long. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and follow our channels. That's been Liam, that's been Luke, and I've been Anton.